Hello and welcome to Blockchain Silver, the place where we analyze what in the world is going on in crypto. Today we're going to talk about Elliot Wave corrections and timing. Warning, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment purposes only. It is best to do your own due diligence, form your own conclusions, and invest based on your opinion of the market. Cryptocurrency markets are highly speculative and may lose value. Be safe out there. All right, so I made a video sometime last week, Elliot Wave Theory in crypto, and this was it was mainly price-based, but rule-based, or I shouldn't say price-based, percentage moves, and there were some rules in there, but we didn't get a chance to touch on correction rules and also on time. All of these have time characteristics, and then the corrections have characteristics. And I knew it was going to be a long video, so I wanted to do another one, and that way we can talk about time and the characteristics of the corrections. And so this here, we've got a few rules on corrections. Wave 2 correction must not retrace more than 100% of Wave 1. So what that means is the Wave 2 can't go down here in price. If it does, then that wasn't a Wave 1. That was still the end of an ABC correction. Rule 2 is that Wave 4 must not cross into the price territory of Wave 1 in an impulsive wave. So Wave 4, which is this one here, can't go down to past the Wave 1, but it can, in a few very rare scenarios, it can overlap Wave 1 in a leading or ending diagonal wave. And if it does that, it usually does not go too far. It might be something where it comes down. This would be the Wave 4. It comes down and maybe goes like that. Just touches in there some. Rule 3, wave alteration. I talk about this all the time. If Wave 2 is short and shallow, 4 is going to be long and deep. If 2 is long and deep, Wave 4 will be short and shallow. They're saying the same thing. If Wave 2 is a deep correction, then Wave 4 will be shallow. Bitcoin had a long and deep Wave 2. This would have been from June 26th to probably October 24th. I believe that we're probably done with the Wave 2. That was a 46% correction down, and I think 4 is probably going to be short and shallow. Rule number 4 is that Wave 2 will bottom in the price territory of the previous fourth wave of one lower degree. So back here, you would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just saying that Wave 2 will generally be around where the Wave 4 is. Same thing here. With the ABC, it'll usually come around where the end of the Wave 4 is. Corrections are always fully retraced by the resuming impulsive trend. Correction, impulsive trend. Correction, impulsive trend. So corrections are always fully retraced by the resuming impulsive trend. Correction, fully retraced by the impulsive trend. Correction, fully retraced by the impulsive trend. If this does not occur, if this is not fully retraced, if it just goes something like this, or something like this, then that is an ABC. You're starting an ABC correction, and so that's why they have that rule. And so I've gathered 3 Elliot Wave corrections. And what we're going to do, we're going to look at all the times. This is just a time and correction-based videos, but we're done on the correction. This is it for corrections and the characteristics. So now let's look at time. All right, so BAT, Wave 1, this was February 6th to March 10th, 2019, lasting about 32 days. Actually, it could have been 33. I always forget to check mark this, include the end date and calculation. 1 day is added. I always forget to check mark this because I'm always trying to gather all this data and get, sometimes it takes me anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to get all this stuff put together. I always forget to check mark this, but I always forget to check mark it also on this. So the calculations, there would be no difference. If I check marked it here and here, this would still be the same 0.41, and here this would still be the 0.31. So just understand, if you double check my math, and I always recommend everybody to double check my math. If you ever find an error, put it in the comments below. I do from time to time make errors. It happens. But anyways, at 32 days from February 6th to March 10th, about 32 days. And then we look for the lowest price, which actually could have been here or here, but I think there was like a flash crash on or around this time. And so from there, from the end of the wave 2 to the 3, it was about 13 days, and that was about 41% of the time of the wave 1 move. So just always remember, wave 1 is the slowest. Wave 3 is faster. Wave 5 is like a lightning bolt. And also from here, we take the lowest price again from the end of the wave 4 to the top, the absolute top. It was 10 days. This was, I can't remember the day. I think April 16th maybe to the 26th. Feel free to double check it, but it was about 10 days. And it was about 31% of this time here. And so this is pretty standard. So you have X amount of time, then you have half that amount of time or less on the wave 3, and the wave 5 is even faster. Everything is based off the wave 1 calculation. This is basic attention token from February. This is the price action from February, or I should say the time action from February of 2019 to April of 2019. So now let's take a look at EOS. And I looked for ones that all had different days. It wouldn't be fair there were a lot of coins that had similar time frames. Litecoin was one of them. And so EOS, so with BAT, this here was like February the 6th. And it started. EOS, this was December the 6th or the 7th of 2018. Wave 1 was about 77 days. Then it corrected down for a short while. Wave 3 lasted about 37 days, go from the lowest price to the highest point. And it was 37 days. It was about 0.48. It was 48% of the time of wave 1. So here we have another instance where it was less than, the wave 3 was less than half the time of the wave 1. Then we had our wave number 4 going into probably end of April, about the time that BAT was having a wave 5, end of April. EOS was finishing its wave 4, and then going into its wave 5, lasting up until, I believe this was the end of May, and its wave 5 was about 31 days, lasting about 40% of the time of wave 1. So slowest, half the time of wave 1, so faster, so slowest, faster, and then this here was like a lightning bolt. It was 40% of the time. In BAT, it was 31% of the time. This one here a little slower, but then you can also see there's about a 20% difference in between the two. 20 to 25% difference. So that's another indicator as well. And so with Bitcoin, now we're going to look at the same time frame from December to about June, end of June. Bitcoin, its 1 through 5 was stretched out way farther than BAT, and it was longer than EOS. So Bitcoin's wave 1, you take the lowest price. It was about December 15th. And we go to wave 1, about 116 days. Now, if you're looking at this, I believe that this was an irregular ABC correction, because if not, then if this here was the one, then all of this happened literally like in 5 or 6 days. And that generally doesn't happen. It can. I've seen it where the public comes in or just something happens and you have a short correction. But I looked at the 4, the time frame, and the 1. They're usually similar. Sometimes, rare instances, they can be different, but I believe that was the one with an irregular A, B, C correction. It kind of jives with everything. But if I'm wrong, it would just change these a little bit. If it would add, I think it would add another 15 days or something to it. And so we got about 116 days. So that was the wave 1. The wave 3 was about 47 days, lasting about 41% of the time of the wave 1. Now, if you notice here, this was pretty similar to BAT token. It was the wave 3 was about 41% of the time. And so then we go into a wave 4. Then the 5 was like a lightning bolt lasting 21 days. This one, the wave 5 in Bitcoin, was lightning fast. And the reason I believe that it was this quick and this much is because I think once this began rolling, EOS, there wasn't much left. This would have been like end of May. So in June, EOS did nothing. And we go into June, BAT was doing nothing. So I think all of this altcoin money, I think, made its way into Bitcoin. And here we have wave theory playing out perfectly again. And it was even faster. So this actually could have gotten stretched out into July, but it didn't. It came quickly. It came swiftly. And it was over, and that was it. And so the next one here. So now we looked at these 3. And I'm thinking, okay, how can we apply this to, because remember with Elliot Wave, this would be a bigger 1 and 2. And so let's try to do some more math. And we go, okay, December 15th. And this is a time-based video. I'm not worried about prices here. I'm not worried about prices here, here, and here. I have ideas what this will be and what this will be. It's in some of my earlier videos. I think it's Bitcoin, the roadmap to 100,000 in 2020. If you're curious, I'll post more videos in the future of what I think these are on the price. But we go December 15th to June 26th. There's not a doubt in my mind that was the bigger one. This was 4 months. This was long and deep. This was a 46% correction down. And so now I believe that we've started the wave 3. And so if we look at wave 1 from December 15th, 2018 to June 26th, 2019, this was 193 days. And so if wave 3 was that amount of time or less, we're looking at about, you go from October 24th, you take the 193 days, times it by 0.5, and it comes out to like 96.5. So in that instance, I round up to 97 days. You go October 24th, add 97 days. Now you could actually, if you did check mark this, then it would add 1 day, making it about January 30th. And so, but You know, if this only ends up being 0.41 or 0.45 or 0.48, then this is going to happen sooner. But this is about where I'm thinking a wave 3 top will happen. And it could always go to January 31st. Now, keep in mind, we have an old high of $20,000 that will be above the old low. And inside of here, there would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have an old high of 20,000. Generally, what happens when you hit those, I think it's going to come down to, I don't know, 17 or 18,000. And we're going to go sideways. This always happens. I can show you a bunch of other coins where when you hit an old high from years ago, you come down and you consolidate. So all I'm getting at is if that does happen, it's going to make this last. This could actually last longer. It could go into February. I don't know yet. We just got to wait and see. But the point of this whole thing is I think we're in a wave 3 right now. If it lasts about half the time or less, we're looking at like January 29th or just the end of January. If it goes into February, it could. And then we're probably going to come down, I think, for at least 3 or 4 weeks. You know, it might end up being 5 weeks. It might end up being 6 weeks. Remember, this was 4 months. But then also remember, we got the halving coming. So I really don't think... I think this is going to be short and shallow. Just like how they say the wave alteration, if wave 2 is a deep correction, then 4 will be shallow. So I'm definitely in the camp of I think this is going to be short and shallow, but we just don't know. And so if we come into February 28th, this could be first week of March, could be the middle of March, then it's going to be roughly about 77 days. So remember the other two, it was about, now this was about half the time. And this here was about 20% less. And this here was about 25% less. So 25, 20, and then this was half the time. So I'm being conservative here. This could end up only being 0.33, which would make this like 67 days. But once this wave 4 gets over with, it is going to be a rocket ship to what I believe. This was a 4.43x move. I'm looking for something similar, maybe a 4.3, a 4.43. And then whatever this ends up being, hold on, because it's from end of February, middle of February, end of February, sometime in March. It's going to be a blast off, leading us into and actually the 77 days. This gets us into the halving time frame. And so the halving, I think, is May 14th or something. I got an older video that says May 18th, and I have an even older one that says like June 20 or June 2nd. That one is based on fractal theory. Now, this one's based on Elliot Wave, but all three of them now are pointing us into May and June of 2020. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I went ahead and added this February 28th, 2020 to May 15th, 2020, 77 days. February 28th, just a guess, to May 15th, 77 days, leading us into that. So like I said, I always forget to check mark this. Include end date and calculation. I need to remember to start doing that. But then if I did, that would put us about May 16th. And so, like I said, this can be all over the place as well. Probably a 15 to 30 day buffer zone from January, end of January to the end of February. Who knows? Leading us into May, June time frame. So, and that's it for today on Elliot Wave corrections and time. If you liked the video, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank you again for coming over to Blockchain Silver, and remember to stay safe out there.